So, welcome everybody to the Bitter Wolf Transportation Terror, and welcome to my guests who are returning from the last time when we talked about the bitter bugs. We have Mike&Serial. Welcome back, my friend.
Hey, how's it going?
Great, great. Tell us, who are you and what do you do, Mike?
I am Mike&Serial, and in the horror world, I am a huge found footage fan, and you can find me on Voices from the Mausoleum doing Found Footage Fridays, as well as Rise from the Dead podcast, where we talk about horror gems, early horror films, and lesser-known movies, and we dissect and discuss.
Okay, and Our Life in Horror, my old friends, welcome back from China and from Thailand and from Canada. How are you two?
Doing good. How are you?
Great. It's good to see you. Tell everyone who you are as if they don't know you already.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Brendan.
And we have a YouTube channel where we do movie reviews, lots of live shows. We talk about physical media. We do reviews we try to hit up the theaters for the new releases to do reviews on those movies. And yeah, just lots of live shows and horror content.
Brilliant, brilliant. And today our big topic of conversation is transportation terror. And when I recommended this topic, it's because I had just watched a movie that we'll probably talk about later. And I thought this is a great genre of horror. And as I started digging into it, I realized this is bigger than I realized. So today what we're going to do is we're going to break it down into some subcategories. And we're going to go through and talk about some movies related to this genre. Okay. But first, I want to get philosophical with you, my friends. And I want to ask you, what does transportation mean to you? Okay. We'll start with Sam.
Of course. Transportation, it's getting from one place to another safely. Since we're talking horror today, I expect it to get me there safely. So yeah, whether it's long distance, just going a few blocks down the road or wherever, I just want to make sure I get there in one piece and nothing breaks down. There's no accidents and yeah, stay alive.
Well, but in our movies, we hope you don't get there in one piece, and that's partly why we're probably so afraid of these types of movies. What do you think, Mike? What do you think?
Same. Transportation is the way to get me from one place to another, but also transportation, just like the horror genre, is my getaway, my escape from where I'm at, and one takes me somewhere mentally, and the other one takes me physically.
Absolutely. And you have a very deep connection with public transportation, I think. So what do you think about that?
I do. So I don't use it as much anymore because I switched jobs. But public transportation, especially in a large city, it's a lot, and it's your means to an end to get to one place to another. I used buses, trains to get to work. I had like 1.5 to 2 hour commutes using multiple buses, trains just to get to where I needed to go. So I heavily relied on public transit for a long time, and that in itself is a horror show.
Absolutely, yes. And that's why I think in public transit is one of the subcategories of transportation terror. And we'll talk about that as well. Okay, Brendan, what does transportation mean to you?
I mean, I think you guys summed it up pretty much. Getting from point A to point B in the quickest, most efficient way possible. Mike, public transit, that literally is a horror story all on its own. I can only imagine the things you've seen and been through.
The smells.
Yeah, the smells. The fear of sitting in a seat that somebody has maybe just puked in or spit on, or who knows.
Definitely other things have happened.
Yeah.
Or that. Oh, man. The horrors that rely in public transit is unbelievable.
Did you? Okay, sorry. I have a question for
No,
Brendan.
go
Did
ahead.
you ever take public transit? Because you're from a small town. So, like, did you have to take public transportation a lot?
No, I walked everywhere.
Okay.
That's the beauty of living in a small town. Everything's within walking distance.
True. Okay. Because I bussed a lot when I was younger.
When I lived in Peterborough, I did do some buses.
Okay.
Here and there. Yep.
Just wondering how much experience you got.
I was usually the drunk one on the bus late at night.
Well, we're going to share some stories of transportation as well, whether it's public transportation or otherwise. We'll do some of that a little bit later. Okay, so let's get started with killer cars. These are movies where the car is the killer or is very central to the plot. In other words, it might keep you in a space that you don't want to be in, or you get into a car accident and it's really gnarly. So I think there's a lot of different layers to cars in horror movies. So who wants to start with a car movie?
I can take this one. I can start with this one. So the car is central to the plot, but it's more specific because it's basically something that we all, for the most part, do nowadays. So it does become its own horror if something like this were to happen. And I am talking about, as a found footage aficionado, I had to throw in a found footage as well.
Yes.
I am talking about Spree.
Yes.
So I forget his name, but the guy from Stranger Things. Yes. He plays basically, he's a YouTube influencer, not really good at it, but he thinks he is, and he wants to be a huge star. So he basically records all of his ride shares. And things go haywire because he is really off of his rocker. And there is one of his customers is basically stuck with him. She is like, I think, a famous comedian, and he's just trying to get to use her for clout, but she doesn't want nothing to do with it. And so the rest of the movie progresses, but it's kind of scary because she's basically essentially trapped with him for most of the movie in this rideshare. And honestly, in real life, we do hear a lot of scary stories regarding Lyfts, Ubers, other rideshare services. So I think this is a perfect movie to talk about when it comes to the horrors of cars.
Amen. That's brilliant. Have either of you seen Spree?
No.
I've been wanting to watch it, but I've just never gotten around to it.
I love this movie, and I do highly recommend this movie.
Spree, brilliant. I love that movie. I think it's so good. Joe Keery's amazing in that. It's really funny. It's got some great kills, and yeah, it covers the rideshare element. Is Dashcam? She's not a rideshare person.
I feel like she's the customer, right? Or she is the rideshare person. I do think that's a very similar movie. I do believe it's rideshare related.
No, I think I think her friend is a rideshare driver or something, and then she just like forces him to become part of her show, whatever that is. Okay. What do you all think? Sam, do you have any car movies?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up one that is a favorite of many people that I just watched for the first time, Death Proof.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like this one because really it's the man that's like following all these girls and whatnot, but he's definitely like the car plays a massive role in this movie. And I have definitely been followed on the road before by a man, so like that kind of stuff freaks me out. And it's just a cool concept that like if you're in the car, like he lures a girl in the car at one point and says like, oh, you won't die in this car, but you got to be in my seat kind of thing. And he's just following them and stalking them. And yeah, it's just it's a chilling little stalkerish car movie.
Ooh, that's another great element of what makes cars so scary. I think there's so many elements to transportation, but whenever you don't know who's inside of it, there's kind of an anonymity there, and then they're following you or they're being aggressive to you in some way. So there's road rage, and we could talk about that too. Okay, Brendan, what do you think?
About Death Proof?
Hey, you can
Or
talk about
the
Death
name of-
Proof. You can talk about any other movies you want to.
I have a movie where it essentially around like the whole movie revolves around a singular vehicle, which is Stephen King's Christine,
Yes.
directed by John Carpenter, where one teenage boy's obsession kind of becomes his downfall.
Yeah.
He becomes so obsessed with this vehicle and thinking it's kind of become the man, and meanwhile this car is also has a ghost in it, which is able to kill people with as well. Yeah, I think it's a great movie.
I absolutely agree. Christine is one of my favorite movies, and hot take, it's my favorite Stephen King movie adaptation, and hotter take, it is my favorite John Carpenter film.
Wow.
Yeah.
High praise for Christine. That's amazing.
Now knowing more of your style, I want to see if you would like it or not. I don't think you would, but
I don't think I would either.
No.
I think
so long.
I do think though, the lead performance, again, this is one of my favorite films. The lead performance from the guy who buys the car, I forget his name as well. I'm terrible at remembering names. That is one of my top favorite performances of a male lead in horror. It is probably in my top 5 favorite performances. I think he did a phenomenal job at losing himself into the role.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's straight from the 80s, so maybe nostalgia too for that time period would get you going. And some of the special effects in the movie are just fantastic because you have no idea how they would do it. There's a sequence where the car has been in an accident and the car can like fix itself, and it pops all the bumps and stuff out, that it just looks so well done. Like I had to go watch special features on it afterwards because I'm like, how did they manage to do that so cleanly looking? Like it's
in the 80s.
Yeah, in the 80s. So the special effects were like revolutionary, even though I don't think it got as high praise for it as it should have.
Okay.
Nice. I think that movie is brilliant, and it kind of blends, like I said, this anonymity, because you have a driverless vehicle that's attacking you, so you can't really see what's inside of it, but you know that it's just this big soulless machine that can kill you because you can't see what's in there, and so it plays into that fear. But then you add the possession element into it, or something like that. I was thinking of another possession one, which is the car from 1977 or something like that. But I think that kind of adds a nice, fun, playful horror element into it, because you think a possessed car is crazy, but at the same time, it plays into that idea of the anonymity of you can't see who's behind you. So I love this possessed car thing, and there's even a possessed car moment in the movie, The Brain. Have any of you seen The Brain?
No.
I've heard of it, but I don't think I've seen it.
Oh,
I
okay.
have, yeah. It's
Okay.
been a long time, but yeah, I've seen it.
It's like the brain is possessing people through the radio wave signals or the television signals, and he gets through to them through the car, so he possesses the car as well.
Is
So
this a 50s movie?
No, it's a 70s, 80s movie. 80s movie.
80s, yeah. It's
Yeah.
shot in Canada here.
Yeah, and it has the doctor from Reanimator.
Oh,
The
okay.
guy who held his head. Yeah.
I'll watch it just because of that.
Yeah. He plays the same character in that.
Nice.
Okay, great. Let's see. Oh, Samar, we could do another round of cars because there's lots of cars, I think. What about road rage movies?
So I love that you said that, because that was my next movie. Is I have Unhinged with Russell Crowe.
Thank you.
That movie stressed me out in the theater, and in all honesty, using some hyperbole, but also not. That movie probably kind of saved my life a little bit, because I am someone who deals with road rage pretty heavily, not to that extent. But after I watched that movie, I saw I saw that, and then you see on the news where people are actually killing people because of road rage. But after seeing that movie, I'm like, you know what? Maybe you don't need to be so stressed on the road. And I really learned to calm down after seeing that movie, because perfect name, that movie's Unhinged.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that it gives you that perspective, because it's kind of the opposite of, we were talking about the anonymity of the car. Having that anonymity also makes you feel like separate you from the humanity of the driver of the other vehicle. So it's easier for you to lash out and get, like you said, hyperbolically or over the top angry to someone who you don't know, who's just frustrating you a little bit on the road. So that's definitely a great reaction and reflection from Unhinged, which is one of my favorite Russell Crowe action movies. It's so great, and he's really scary in that movie too. Have you seen Unhinged, you guys?
Yeah,
I loved Unhinged. Actually, that was the next movie I was going to bring up. I remember when I first watched it, I watched it 3 times that day.
Yeah, you made me watch it with you.
Yeah, because I watched it, and then I made you watch it, and then you fell asleep, and then I just decided to watch it again. It's literally the movie to put Russell Crowe back on the map after his hiatus. So that's good, and I think there's something to be said about what's his line? You don't even know what a bad day is. You know, you never know what the other person in the vehicle beside you is going through, and they could just be something so quick to set them off onto some kind of rampage.
It's not worth it. It's so not worth it. But I can relate to you, Mike. Like I had that as well. What cured me of it was whenever I just started road tripping all the time, and over the decades, I just learned people, there's always someone crazier out there than you are.
Absolutely.
So you just have to and it's just nicer to not be Russell Crowe and Unhinged. Has anyone seen the other road rage movie? So I think Unhinged makes for a great double feature, and I think this is an even more extreme road rage movie, is Tailgate from the Netherlands. Has anyone seen that?
It's on my list.
I highly recommend. It's more horror because it leans into the slasher element. So I think that it's really good and very overlooked.
I do have a couple more horror car movies. I guess this one's not like Killer Car or anything, but Titan. That's a really
that was on my list too.
Messed up one.
That was totally on my list because I'm like, that's unique, but it is car related, like heavily car related.
It is, yeah. It's just really weird and out there, but really good at the same time. So highly recommend Titan.
I'm with you. Oh my god. And Cujo was on my list too, but no, Titan, I was ready to bring that one up because I love that movie. Mm-hmm. It is super weird, super body horror, but yeah, it is 100% transportation horror to me because it is all about cars.
And it makes you go through so many emotions. Like at one moment it's sexy, and then all of a sudden you're like, what the heck is happening? What is she doing with the car? And then it's just serious and cutthroat, and then it gets
emotionally jarring.
It's everywhere.
It did have a roller coaster of emotions.
And cars play such a huge role in our lives, and that's why I think even non-horror movies have so many suspense-filled scenes or so many anxiety-filled scenes that involve cars in some way.
I had one last car movie because I believe you and Sam recommended this movie to me over the holidays. Dead End.
That was my next one. Yes.
Yes.
I was like, we have to talk about this one because that movie, was recommended to me from all of you here, and I loved it. I thought it was very unique, very cool, very funny. Christmas holiday horror. It's one that I enjoyed. I thought the performances were great, but I thought that was a very cool concept and very heavily on the car, because basically it was all about their journey trying to get to a holiday party, right?
Yeah, it was like Christmas Eve dinner or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, had to bring that one up.
Good call.
And it's like whenever you don't know what's outside of your car and you're taking refuge in there, and that takes. I think there was a movie. Oh no, I'll save that for buses. I mentioned Jeepers Creepers, but that's a bus. So I need to get my shit together. Okay. Brendan, any more from you about cars before we move on to the next one?
Absolutely. Since you guys brought up Cujo and having to defend your space in a car, I thought of this was a really hard subject for me for some reason. So I don't have a lot of movies on my list, but Monster is a early A24 movie, revolving around a mother dealing with addiction who's driving her daughter to her ex-husband's house, and their car breaks down, or they hit an animal and they don't know what the animal is, and then the animal is trying to eat them.
Absolutely.
The only thing I truly remember about who's acting in it is Scott Speedman is in it, just because of his name. And I think it's a great slow burn movie, but I think the monster design is excellent. I think they make great use of using everything they can in the vehicles in order to protect themselves. It's just been so long since I've seen it. But
I remember really being impressed by that movie, but I also remember that was in like my wine. I was in like a wine phase, and I would have like 2 huge things of wine every day. And so I remember it was during that phase, and I need to go back and watch it again. But I remember being impressed by it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the first A24 films I've watched, and I think it's still severely not even just underrated, but I feel it's very underseen. I don't hear people
I haven't seen it.
Talk about that movie at all.
it's an expensive movie to try to get your hands on. Like, I think it's like a $35 plus Blu-ray.
Oh,
So yeah. So I've been it's been on my watch list for years, or wish list for years, because I want to show Sam it, because I think she'd actually really like it, even knowing it's a monster movie. But I think you would dig it.
Okay. Can I bring up one more before we move on?
Yes, please.
Because we just watched it literally last night, I think.
I think that might be in a separate car category.
Is there other car categories, or is this the last of cars?
What is the go ahead. It's fine.
The Hitcher.
Yes, actually I had that on my list too.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Because there's the original and the remake, and we just watched the original for the first time. Absolutely loved it. But like, yeah, it's in a car. Like, he picks him up, and then it goes like crazy.
Yeah, the intro to The Hitcher is probably one of the best openings in horror history. I think it's so tense. It's oddly sexual, which kind of threw me for. I know I've heard from reviews like earlier that it was like that, but like I never really thought about how much sexual tension there was between the two characters. It's just like a lot of how it's shot, but it's just a deranged man who's challenging this young man's ideals and seeing how far he can really push him.
Yeah, and even when he's like driving down the road and he sees him in the other car, and it kind of freaks you out, because like you think about it sometimes when you're driving in your car and you look in the other cars, like what if you actually saw something pretty fucked up, like when you see him with the little kid or whatever. Like, I always think about like, oh my god, what if I see someone like writing a sign on the window like help me or something. I think about those things sometimes, and it's scary.
Ooh, nice one, Brendan.
This one's a little more thriller kind of, but still like scary concepts. Amber Alert with Hayden Panettiere.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I thought you meant the other one.
Oh, I haven't seen the other one. But this is like a newer, like last year or the year before. I really liked it. I don't know if it was loved by the regular audience, but it kept my heart racing. And it's basically a girl gets into well, she thinks she's getting into an Uber. He ends up not being an Uber, or he ends up being like off the clock or something. And she convinces him to still drive her. And while they're driving, an Amber Alert comes on the radio and they end up seeing the car. So they follow that car and try.
I think I saw that. Wait, let me.
Did you? Okay.
Wait,
I really enjoyed it.
I also think I don't know, it's basically based off of what you said. It sounds like a remake of, I think it was like a 2003, 2004-ish movie, but it was a found footage film called Amber Alert. Ooh. And it's the same thing. It's I think it's a brother and sister, or it's a girlfriend and boyfriend situation, but it's a girl and a guy in a car, and they see an Amber Alert, and then they end up seeing the car in front of them, and they go chasing it. But it's all found footage.
Okay. This
Maybe
one
that's
wasn't.
The one I saw.
Like, it's not my favorite movie. I'm not gonna go out of my way to recommend it to people. But it's one of the first found footage films I've ever seen.
Okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
Outside of like the earlier stuff like Blair Witch and all that, but when it started getting the boom again, it's one of the first ones that I watched. And they were very annoying, but it was still a really cool concept.
Well, let's go ahead and pivot to our next one, which is going to be trucks, because Sam brought it up. And actually, it was the next one anyway, so that works out very nicely. And actually, Jeepers Creepers fits into two different categories, because we have trucks and we have school buses, but we'll talk about trucks. All right, so Mike, what do you want to talk about?
So I think this falls into trucks. If not, it's a pivot between truck and car, because it is 1981's Road Games with Jamie Lee Curtis. I love this movie. It's slow burny, but I really enjoy it. It's I think it's set in the Australian outback, I know it's in Australia, and it's basically a hitchhiker and a cop are trying to stop a serial killer who's on the road murdering people throughout Australia, and he's in a truck. So therefore, for me, it's truck-ish horror, but it's this cat and mouse game, and I had never heard of this movie for a long time until I heard about it on a podcast, and I was like, oh, there's a Jamie Lee Curtis horror thriller that I haven't heard of. Gonna watch it, and I really liked it, so I bought it. I think there's a Scream Factory Blu-ray of it, and I have it, and I love it.
Nice. That's great. And I love cat and mouse. It's kind of related to The Hitcher. It's kind of related to this whole stalker element of things that make cars scary. So when you were talking about cat and mouse scenes with trucks, I also thought of Wolf Creek 2, whenever Mick Taylor has commandeered the large semi-truck and is going hitting all the kangaroos while he's trying to catch that guy.
One of my favorite movies ever, Joyride.
Joyride.
Rusty Nail is such a scary character, and it starts with literally just Scott Walker and Steve Zahn playing a prank over the trucking system in the car, and just the fact that like they fucked with the wrong person, like they just played a prank on the wrong person. And it's the first one is definitely a heavy thriller. The sequels go into more slasher, not as good, but still fun. But yeah, just such a good movie. I love the brother chemistry between Steve Zahn and Paul Walker. So many tense moments. Like when they're in the motel room listening on the wall is like my favorite scene in the movie. And it's just so good. I mean, Rusty Nail is so scary.
No, I love that movie. It was definitely on my list. I almost said it in the car one, but I was like, I'm pretty sure it was a truck that he was in. So I was like, let me hold off on this one now that we know that there's trucks involved. But yeah, no, I love that movie. Same thing. I actually think when you think of thriller movies that have like still good enough horror suspense to it, that's a movie for me. I remember the first time I saw it, I was stressed to the max watching it because they were going through it. Like Sam said, Rusty Nail, like, yeah, that movie had me stressed. I was too young to be that stressed.
He like rips someone's jaw off, like he's intense. And I'm pretty sure they even say something about this one highway that he usually kills on, because like people go missing off that one highway, and just that concept is so scary. And yeah, I love it.
That's awesome. It's like, and that also is a real thing that happens too. Like whenever I was in college, there was this, and I would go down from Memphis to New Orleans, and there was a period where there was a serial killer targeting people on that highway that I would take to get down to New Orleans. And so, but that happens all the time in the United States. It's like, it's so interesting. But that's also where this subgenre comes from.
That is my fear of road tripping. Like I always do. I'm a huge road tripper. I love exploring stuff in my backyard. I love doing quick road trips. So like I'm in the Chicagoland area. So I'll go to Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan. I'll go to all these little like cute small towns that people tell me about to go see specific things. I love doing that. 3-hour road trips are fun, but because I'm in the Midwest, it can get a little scary when going to the small towns and you're on those small back roads because you do hear of people going missing. So that is definitely a fear, is serial killers and getting the wrong person on the right day.
And you know what? One of the most prolific serial killers in the history of the United States was a truck driver, and he used the fact that he was transient and he was able to be anonymous that way to prey on hundreds of people over decades before he just essentially, they caught him right before he was about to die, you know. So it's pretty scary.
I have one more. It's not a movie I would recommend, but since we brought his name up for cars, you can't talk trucks without bringing up another, I believe it's the Stephen King adaptation, Maximum Overdrive. And is this the movie that he directed?
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, and he needs to stay away from directing because of this movie. But Maximum Overdrive, it is the only like fully blown out truck horror movie that I am aware of. So if we have new ones, I'd love to hear them because I need something else besides Maximum Overdrive.
I like Maximum Overdrive. I don't know it all, but I like really cheesy things too, and it's very cheesy.
I do too, and it is not the worst movie I've seen, but it is close to it.
Oh wow, shit. Well, Maximum Overdrive is pretty funny, I think. The funniest thing is just watching those trucks circling the gas station nonstop, like for 24 hours. They're just like, you know, and I forget why they're doing that. If it's some radio signal or if it's some possession, I don't remember. But if you're in the right mood, you guys check out Maximum Overdrive. Yeah.
Okay. I think I've seen it a long time ago, but I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Thank you for saying that one, Mike, because that was on my list for trucks. I also wanted to talk about, this one takes place at a truck stop. So trucks play a huge role in it. Do you know what I'm going to say, Mike?
Oh,
Is it Splinter?
No. That's a good one, though. Sam?
Is it Candyland?
Yes, Candyland.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that movie.
That's a good one.
Talk about Candyland.
It's so good. You want me to talk about it?
Yes, I love that movie.
Oh, so it's about a truck stop where a bunch of sex workers go to work. Yeah, exactly. There's some essay in it, so I'm gonna just throw that out there for the listeners. So it can be a little brutal, but there is some there's other scenes that are like sexy. There's gore. There's like, it's so good. It's so good. I don't want to say too much about the plot because I don't want to give anything away. So yeah, truck stop, sex workers.
This is
Candyland.
Candyland.
Candyland. Yeah, it's on Tubi. I think it's on a bunch of other stuff. It's a nice surprise.
A girl shows up at the truck stop and the sex workers kind of take her in. I'll say that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, that's a good one to go in mostly blind. Have you seen that one, Brendan?
Yeah, we watched it together.
Yeah.
It's got a nice colorful cast of like characters, and everybody seems really down to earth and relatable, really.
Yeah, I think one of the Baldwin brothers is in it too. Randomly, I think he's the. Never mind. I don't want to say anything. Okay. Let me skim for any others. Let's backtrack to Cars for a second. There was a rideshare movie that I have not seen called Rideshare. So if anyone wants to check out any rideshare movies, maybe that's another one to check out. Dead Hooker in a Trunk. We have to represent the Canadians again with our Soska sisters. Trucks. Okay. Has anyone watched Masters of Horror?
Not enough of it.
Yeah, I know of it, but I haven't seen them all. I don't even know how many I've seen.
Okay, there's an episode of Masters of Horror that I highly recommend called Pick Me Up or Pick Me Up. I don't know where the stress goes. But it's directed by Larry Cohen, who did The Stuff, Q, The Winged Serpent, and a bunch of other stuff. But it's a really great episode. It stars Michael Moriarty, who is the star of The Stuff. And he plays a truck driver who picks up a bus driver. So we have bus and truck in this, and most of it takes place on the semi-truck. It's their conversation. It's like an hour long or something. So I highly recommend it. I don't want to give it away because it has more than one twist in this movie. In this short little movie. It's really fun and funny as well. Okay, let's see here. Oh, I don't want to do that. That doesn't count. I'm going to put that in the miscellaneous. There's a miscellaneous category also.
I have a miscellaneous category on my sheet.
Yes.
Yeah. I have something like I think it's going to be miscellaneous.
Perfect. Okay. So we're going to do one more subcategory, then we'll move into the break category. So this subcategory is airplanes, evil airplanes, or any other airplane-esque types. I'm thinking of Snakes on a Plane. I'm thinking of 20,000 feet, Nightmare at 20,000 feet, which was my first, one of my first nightmares in my life. I remember watching this whenever I was a kid on some road trip at some motel, and we turn on the TV, and there is William Shatner, and it was like right at the scene where he's about to show us the gremlin crawling on the wing of the plane. And that is one of my earliest scarred me as a child memories. So airplane terror, or that probably led to my fear of flying on airplanes as a kid. So I was terrified. I wouldn't even think of getting on an airplane until I was about 15 years old because of that episode. So airplanes. Brendan, do you have any airplanes?
I do. It's more of a sequence within the horror film, but I think World War Z has an excellent scenario where zombies are on a plane, and it's just one to start, and then of course half the plane is taken over. We'll say like coach, it's split up between two sections, and the backside's not infected yet, so they have to be super quiet, and they're trying to figure out a way to block themselves off until the plane can land. So they start piling up all these bags against the door. And then, of course, one bag just so happens to fall over. And then these zombies just rush towards them. And then there's not much else you can really do except for light a grenade and hopefully you survive the plane crash. So I think that's an excellent sequence within a bit of a mediocre zombie movie.
That's a fun zombie. I think that's like a super reliable. Just put it on if you want something brainless. It's like double feature with 2012 for some reason. It feels like those two go really well together.
Absolutely.
But I don't know, the whole like piling on of zombies is very satisfying to me for some reason. Like you see that effect in Train to Busan as well, like when they're all stacking on top of each other rapidly. And I just find that so creepy. Maybe because I had a nightmare like that as a kid. What do you think, Mike? Have you seen World War Z?
I have, and I actually enjoy that one. But yeah, that scene specifically, I think, is a real highlight of the movie. And that is a terrifying situation regarding a plane. So I definitely would add that to this as well.
Yeah, there's loads, and I feel like there's lots of zombies on a plane thing, or it's the virus outbreak. And there's scenes in a lot of zombie movies where there's a virus outbreak on the plane. I think I've watched like 3 or 4 movies this year alone that had scenes like that. What about you, Sam? Any airplane movies?
I'm gonna bring up a shark movie that starts off in a plane called No Way Up. I'm kind of the opposite of you. I was fine flying as a kid, I think, because my parents took me on planes a lot. But now with age, hearing more and more scary stories, I'm more scared now, which is funny because I was just on 6 planes over the last month. But yeah, I don't know. Any movie that has a plane crash, especially like going into the ocean, is absolutely terrifying to me. So I'll go with No Way Up because it's a shark movie. You know, they're trying to get out of the ocean, but it does start in the plane. So I'll throw it at
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like Cujo. It's the whole, you're stuck in the little transportation thing and something outside of it's trying to get you. But then in No Way Up, you have the added challenge of having the entire ocean against you as well. Mike, yeah.
Yeah, I have not seen that one, but I'm writing it on my list because give me any type of shark movie and I'm here for it.
Absolutely.
So airplane horror, I do have to bring up, because I don't have many of them, so I have to bring up one of the best thrillers. Gotta bring up Red Eye. It is fantastic. I'm so happy that people started to really come around on it, because I do know when it first came out, it didn't have the best reviews, and or at least everything that I saw, it wasn't really well received. But now when people talk about thrillers and underrated movies, I hear Red Eye come up a lot, and people say so many good things about it. And I agree, because that was a tense movie that was stressful. That is another scary thing that, well, maybe not something that could happen all the time. At the end of the day, someone came up with that. So someone had that idea. So someone else, I'm sorry, things happen on planes. That's a fear of mine, is that I've always been afraid of planes. And then I, as an adult, just in my 20s, was able to finally go on planes, but I still have rarely been on them. So now, besides my fear of like crashing, other fears of mine is like I'm gonna be hijacked on a plane.
Sure.
That movie was part of it.
And also, like, we grew up in a very formative time in the United States when planes had a really, like, people were scared of planes for a long time. And I think after 9/11, our relationship to planes and horror movies changed too. Like, you saw a lot more, and you saw a lot more really goofy ones. I mentioned Nightmare at 20,000 feet, but there's also Exorcism at 60,000 feet or something. Has anyone seen that?
No.
No, I've been meaning to pick up the Blu-ray. Just haven't gotten to it.
Man, it's insane. It's got a crazy cast. Let me look it up again so I can remind myself who's in that. Exorcism.
Is that with Ryan Quantum? No, that's a different plane one.
Yeah, I think it's 20,000 feet, isn't it? Exorcism at 20,000 feet.
It's 60,000 feet, actually.
Is it 60?
Yeah, I just looked it up. It's Lance Henriksen's in it. Bill Moseley's in it. Adrian Barboa. I mean, it's got a crazy cast here. But it's over the top. It's really silly, really fun. And I think I thought Clint Howard. Oh no, it's Kevin J. O'Connor, that dude from The Mummy. You remember the the like horrible Weasley guy who got killed by the beetles at the end of the movie in The Mummy. I think
Benny.
he's one of the pilots. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, Exorcism at 60,000 feet is really good. I Love Snakes on the Plane. There's Flight of the Living Dead. Has anyone seen that one?
No.
But these definitely sound like titles I would only get from you. A lot of them come out like where I'm like, I know people don't like this, but I like this.
But Mike, I think that might be found footage. Let me double check.
Yeah,
I gave it 4 stars.
Anything found footage put on my radar, I'll take it.
That guy's in this movie too. Denny from The Mummy is in this movie too. I said this. I don't remember anything about it. I just looked it up and put it on there and saw. I gave it 4 stars. I said this is a great zombie flick. They really don't make them like this anymore, and the cast is excellent. I don't know what I mean by that, but okay.
They really don't make them like this anymore.
That other dude from The Mummy is in it too. He was like the Egyptian scholar. That's funny. Okay. All right. Any other airplane movies? Quarantine 2, another zombie movie that takes place on an airplane.
Oh yeah, Terminal. I haven't seen that one in a long time.
Yeah. I like that. Did you like that one, Brendan?
Yeah, I think so. It's been a long time since I've watched it. I've been wanting to get to it with Sam to do watch a Quarantine and then Quarantine 2, but we're packed doing other stuff. I do have a Netflix airplane movie that came out a few years ago. I think it's called Blood Red Sky.
Yeah.
Deals with vampires on a plane, which I thought was a very unique take and very interesting.
Did we watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember it.
I started that, and then I was like, because I think, is it Russian or something like that?
It is foreign, yeah.
And I was just not in the mood that day to read stuff, so that was my personal issue. But I'll go back and watch it. Yeah.
I know I started it, but I think I was in the same type of mood where I'm like, I'm not going to focus on this, so let me just turn it off.
Yeah.
But Vampires on a Plane, like, I need to go back and rewatch it. Or start to watch it. Let me just
turn this off. There was one I was thinking of earlier, and I could never find it on my list. And I couldn't find it by Googling or anything either. But it was a group of people on a small passenger jet or something. And when they're up there starts to be this eldritch abomination, like H.P. Lovecraft type creature. And I can't, and it was pretty good, but I can't remember what it was now. I'm so mad about that. And I watched one 2 days ago in an airplane, but I can't remember it. Yeah, Mike, go ahead.
I have one more to bring up. It's not centered entirely around airplanes, and it doesn't take place entirely on the airplane, but I feel like it is a central part of the movie because it sets off a series of events. And I think we have to, if we're talking airplane horror, we have to bring up Final Destination, the original.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Because talk about an iconic plane scene, and it does set the tone for the entire movie. Obviously, I think so many people have seen that movie, so we know that the premonition is about an airplane crash full of high school students that are on their way to Paris. And it's a great movie, but that scene alone, I think it was just really great. I was scared out of my mind because I was pretty young when I watched that. And again, didn't like planes to begin with, and that did not help.
Also, to go back to our categories of cars, there's car scenes, the pile up. Yeah. There's the trucks, the log truck. Like we could talk all day about Final Destination.
Why didn't we didn't say the fucking log truck? Really? Let me look at where I must have wrote that on my list somewhere.
And then we can put it in miscellaneous for the third, roller coasters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Shit.
I mean, Final Destination has covered like everything, really.
Yeah.
Like there's also a subway.
Yeah.
Is there a helicopter
Racetrack.
crash? I bet this probably is.
NASCAR cars.
NASCAR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Final Destination's full of transportation horror.
Lots of transportation.
It's so overwhelming, like thinking of all the transportation. It was like, oh my god. Okay. Yeah, good call. Final Destination. The log truck stuff really gets to me because I spend a lot of time on the logging roads whenever I'm out camping with my van. And van will come later as well. But actually, I was watching The Wolfman. Oh, wait, let me save this. Okay. All right. Any others for evil airplanes? I had Row 19, which is about a woman who gets into a plane crash. Did you see that, Sam?
It sounds familiar. I feel like I don't know. What was the synopsis? Sorry.
She gets into a plane crash and then she goes on another plane and that gets into a crash. I don't remember what happens or why.
I think I've seen the cover. Did we buy it?
Did we watch it? I
And
just don't remember
I
it.
think we bought this movie and it's sitting in a cabinet behind us.
Okay.
Never to
Sounds
be
familiar.
seen again.
It's fine. It's fine.
Or maybe you
Sam
loved it
might
already.
Like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. And like me, forget the entire movie. Okay. Any final airplanes?
I mean, we should probably have a little bit of an in-depth conversation about this super mega B movie, Snakes on a Plane. Should we not?
Yeah.
Oh God, yes. We sort of brushed over Snakes on a Plane. I love Snakes on a Plane. Brendan,
I mean,
what
this
do you
is
think?
this is the first movie where the studios actually listened to the internet and got Samuel L. Jackson to say all these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. So that's just a milestone all in itself. And now you've seen that that's become more of a thing more than ever, with crowds of audiences making the studios listen to what they would want in their movie instead of them thinking they know what's best.
Nice.
But yeah, it's just a fantastic B movie. It's an awful movie, but it is so much fun.
I think it's so nostalgic to all people our age too.
Yeah.
Like just remember watching it as a kid with my sister and my neighbor and just laughing.
Did this movie
And-
get a rap song?
Yes.
I'm sure it did. Yeah.
Because, thank you for saying that, because the part I was going to bring up, I was like, I don't remember the song or how it went, but I do remember it having a video.
Yes, I was obsessed with
I
it.
remember the music video. I think it was even on like MTV's Making the Video when they used to do that.
I could hum the song right now, but I don't know the words. But I have it in the tune in my head. I was obsessed with
I
this
remember
band.
loving the song, but I don't remember it anymore because shockingly, and I'm very surprised, I don't know why this is still the case, I have still never seen the movie.
Oh, wow.
I know so much about it, and I swear there's certain scenes that are like ingrained in my head. So I think I may have just like always caught bits and pieces, but I have never sat down and watched the movie.
It is
my
such a fun
God.
time.
And it's such a me movie.
It is. Like,
That's what
I
I
was
don't
like,
understand.
that's
But I need to watch it. I
that's
need to watch
amazing,
it.
Mike. No, that's great because then you get to watch it for the first time. This is
Yeah.
true.
Go to your local video used movie store. It'll be there for $1.
Yeah.
That's very true.
I was like, maybe I'll make that movie for some content.
There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, Snakes on a Plane, Bring It. Is that the rap? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't remember. All I remember is my hat is like a shark fin from Deep Blue Sea. But I just felt like that movie got a rap video.
Yeah, it definitely did.
I don't know. I need to look this shit up after.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's
gonna
the first
bug
thing.
me.
Once we're done, I'm YouTubing the video and I'm gonna listen to this song. And you probably are gonna see me like put it all over Twitter, like so much, and saying, "You all remember this?"
Oh, that's a great movie. That movie will just make you happy. Okay, that's the final call for airplanes. Thank you so much.
Sorry, it was by Cobra Starship.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay. Yeah. I was obsessed.
We're gonna have to play it after.
Yeah,
and then
we
I'll
will.
probably recognize it then.
Yes.
But I feel like this was like one of the last movies that you actually got like a music video with it.
Probably.
Yeah, they should bring that back.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's go to the break category here. And this is, where did it go? Oh, there it is. All right. So, do you have any scary transportation related stories?
Sam met me. She had 3 scary transportation incidents.
Oh my God. Whatever. Okay. I've been in a lot of car accidents. But I was living in a city in Ontario that has the highest insurance rate of Ontario because the drivers are so crazy. So I was technically on paper at fault for them, but I was actually only at fault for one in my head. But yeah, I've been in a lot of accidents. I have also been T-boned by a deer a long time ago while driving on a back road, which was really scary. Like I said before, I've been followed in a car before. Me and my girlfriends. Okay, we used to do some really fucked up shit.
Oh yeah,
when
tell him why you were followed by this vehicle.
No, this time we were just dancing in the car.
Yeah, okay.
But okay, we used to we were wild hooligans. We would drive in the roads at night and just blast our music and whatever. We would flash people and whatever. But we didn't do that this time. We were just dancing in the car, and this guy ended up following us off the highway all through town and whatever. We ended up losing him in a parking lot, so we were fine. But that could have ended real bad.
And that's
We were
just scary in itself, like someone following you.
And we were just dancing that time. But yeah, we were doing some crazy stuff when we were young.
Actually, whenever you mentioned it, it reminded me of this found footage movie I watched earlier this year called Poor Things. Did you see that? Or not Poor Things. What was it called? Hold on, let me look it up again. What is Poor Things?
That's the one with Emma.
Oh yeah. I was like, what did I just?
I was like, that's a different movie for me, but
Emma Stone.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let me look up. I forgot. Oh, Evil Things. Okay.
I've seen
Have
that.
you seen
one.
that? I thought you might have seen it. Oh yeah. Okay, we gave it the same rating, I think. So yes, but this movie actually has a really good opening sequence. Usually in found footage, you're waiting till the last act for things to really kick off. But I think they do a good job of making the opening part of this really tense by having a creepy van following these people. And it's found footage, so you really feel immersed into it. And you see him, he kind of road rages at them a little bit, but then he stalks them too, and they go to the diner, and you see him out there in his car, but you don't know who he is. And I don't think you ever do, if I remember right.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, which makes him creepier. So I like stuff like that because that's real. Yeah, people get crazy out there on the road.
It's scary. And I think nowadays, when I was doing that stuff when I was younger, obviously I was not knowledgeable in all the human trafficking stuff that's going on. That was going on then, but you hear about it so much more now. And the internet talks about that all the time. You hear TikTokers talking about it and whatnot. But I hear stories all the time of the 401, girls getting followed from I know there's this one McDonald's in Milton. I know you guys don't know these places. I'm sorry. In Ontario. That's just really bad for girls getting followed because of human trafficking. And it's literally happening everywhere, and you just hear the scariest stories on TikTok of girls being followed from different locations and stuff. So that shit is actually really scary. Back in the day, I was a little reckless because I didn't
You're naive.
I didn't think about that stuff. We didn't have the internet and social media where people talk about it, So, but now knowing what I know, that shit's actually really scary. It's not a nice feeling being followed either. It's your heart's racing.
I have a bus-related public transit story that was kind of scary, and it probably would have been scarier if I was awake for it. I had a very long commute. This was about 14, 15 years ago. I worked at Party City. And so we were doing inventory, which were overnights. And so I had just done like 2 back-to-back ones, and they called me in seeing if I could do another one because someone had to bow out. So I was like, yeah, I need the extra money. But that meant I had to take a later bus to get to another later bus to then get to them. So I was tired. And the bus that I took was down a street. And once you get to a certain point, it's not a very safe area that you're going through most of the time. And then there was a detour at the time that took you around a very famous in our area, not so safe park, like a very large park, which is like over a mile detour that you had to do. Well, I fell asleep and I woke up to people screaming and men trying to take a woman off of the bus. And supposedly they were robbing the bus completely, and someone was fighting back, and then they tried kidnapping someone on the bus. So then I had the first thing I think of, because then they told us we all had to wait there because we're all witnesses. The cops were called, and I'm just like calling my job like, I'm not going to be able to make it. Apparently, a lot of shit happened on the bus while I was sleeping, and then the cops were just like very surprised that I had fallen asleep and that I slept through the whole thing, because apparently like it was a long in-depth thing that happened. And I just woke up to the last part of it.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so I am typically not one who sleeps on public transit because, especially the city that I lived in, that's not very uncommon to have things like that happen on our public transportation. So it was just that I was very exhausted. And I never made the mistake of falling asleep on public transit again.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
How do you sleep through it, Mike? Your horror movie consumption has desensitized you.
Listen, back-to-back inventories. They do a toll.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Okay. Any other? See, mine is gonna. Mike's is like someone was taken off the bus at gunpoint, and people are stalking me and things, and I'm like, oh, I thought I was gonna fall off the side of the mountain.
That's terrifying. That is terrifying, and that's why, like, when I went to Oregon, that was scary. Like driving down those winding roads, and then you realize you're so high up. I've never done that before, and then I was panicking the entire time. Once I saw that there was like no railing and we're on a cliff, I'm like,
yeah.
My parents know someone who died in Costa Rica from that.
Oh yeah,
driving off a cliff, and he tried to climb his way back up, and they found him dead, like climbing up.
I was staying at a small town an hour south of Vegas, and I was going to fly from Vegas back to Tennessee. And so I had to get a bus from the small town to Vegas. And the bus driver was exhausted when he got there, and you could see it in his eyes. He's like, whoa. And from the time we left, it was just an hour bus ride, but he was falling asleep the entire time we were there. And so I was watching him, and like you could see his face, just the top of it in the rear view mirror, and he would literally close his eyes completely and start doing this, and the whole thing would start. The whole bus would start doing this over into the desert. And luckily he hit the little rumble strips on the side of the road, and it would wake him up real fast. And you can see him go like that, like a cartoon. And I was like, holy shit. And he did that the entire way to Vegas.
I got one. I don't think it tops Mike's at all.
I don't want to be the winner of this one.
I think you are. I was driving on the highway a few months ago. Well, actually, probably like 6 months ago now, 6 or 7, and I was just driving and not really thinking about anything. There was a transport beside me, and there was another transport on the other side, so I was kind of sandwiched in, which is always brutal. But then all of a sudden, there was a deer on the highway. and we're going like 120 on the highway, and it just zooms past my car, and then you see it like stand up on its two legs at this truck beside me, and I'm like, oh no, he's gonna fall back into my car, and I'm gonna have some accident, and I don't know what's gonna happen. Like most likely I'm gonna end up hitting one of these other trucks, and then there's going to be a huge accident, and I'm screwed. But luckily it landed on all fours beside me and then darted behind the transport and took off. And I'm like, that was probably one of the most terrifying things I've ever experienced on the road.
That can cause serious damage.
Yeah, I've never seen one on the highway. And then I was driving you to the airport. You don't remember this, but they weren't paying attention. The girls were talking to themselves. So I was driving, and then this car swerved on my left because I was probably following too close behind him. And then he swerved out of the way, and there's two large deer carcasses in between the two left lanes, so the center lane and the left lane. And I'm like, oh my God, like these things are like standing up like this, like dead on the ground. I'm like, oh, so I was calm. I took control of the situation and just veered a little bit to the right, and then veered back in my lane, and nobody even noticed.
Deers can fuck you up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And moose and things like that could just really cause some damage. Wow. Oh, I just remembered one time whenever I was leaving Costa Rica, I had some friends who I met there, and they left a few days before me. And when they were flying out of Costa Rica, a big bunch of birds got sucked into the engine of the airplane when they were taking off, and it like exploded the engine, so they had to make an emergency landing.
That's also extremely terrifying.
Isn't that crazy? Just like, what are the chances?
When I was just on my plane, actually, when Mike said he woke up to people screaming, I had that too when I was on my plane and on my way to China. I fell asleep because I was so tired. It was like 3 a.m. our time, and we're going from LA to China, and I fell asleep as soon as we got in the plane. Like I put my carry-on under my whatever, and I just like dozed off. And next thing I know, I'm waking up to people screaming around me, and I'm on a fucking airplane, and that's like not a good sign.
No.
And it turns out the guy that was next to me, there's an aisle in between us, but the guy that was next to me was not waking up, and his wife was like shaking him, and he wasn't waking up. And my sister is the one that noticed, so she panicked and like tapped my dad, and my dad starts calling for help. So me waking up to people screaming, I'm not knowing what's going on. I got really nauseous and really dizzy. I almost fainted, and this guy had to be removed from the plane. I thought I was going to have to get removed from the plane because I was like on the verge of fainting. And then afterwards, the flight attendants had to go through every single carry-on bag and make sure it was accounted for to someone on the plane to make sure he didn't plant a bomb. And I was like, that's so scary, because people will like fake an emergency to get off the plane and like leave something on the plane, right? So for protocol, they had to make sure every bag belonged to someone, which I didn't learn that till after. Yeah, it's so scary. So that was fun.
If I ever wake up to screaming on an airplane, I will not stop screaming myself. That I will have a full-blown panic attack immediately, because you wake up to screaming on an airplane, you think you're dying.
And the plane was already moving. It was getting ready for takeoff and going fast, and then they like shut down everything. They called it off. They stopped the plane and like got him off with his wife.
Wow. Yeah, that would be pretty bad, because like, I don't know. I mean, this is just all revealing why these things are so terrifying to us. And I think everyone has their own different anxieties related to different transportation for all kinds of reasons. And that would be horrifying to wake up to that sound.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, let's go to our next subcategory here. So at first I had spaceships, but I decided to remove spaceships from this because that's pretty much all of the of the sci-fi horror movies. So we can just say honorary mention to all of those things. We love you, Critters 4. We love you, Leprechaun 4. We love you, whatever the fourth one is. Jason Goes to Space in the 10th one, or whatever it is. So, any others that are honorable mention for space? Dead Space, Alien.
I didn't even.
I had
think
Alien
that
on my list, thinking I was being clever.
Okay. I ruined it. Sorry. You are clever. You are clever, Mike.
There's Life. I
Yeah.
really love Life.
Good. That's good to know.
Is that
The movie.
I love Life, man.
Yeah. These guys didn't know. I
Happy guy.
smoked a huge bowl before this.
He's like, I love life.
I love Life.
I'm dead.
I haven't seen it actually.
Is that the Jake Gyllenhaal one?
Yes.
Okay, I have not seen that either.
Oh, it's so good. I know Sam refuses to watch it because it's set in space, but it's so good. It's like a present time alien movie, but I think it's really good.
I might watch it.
Okay. Yeah.
And Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say Gravity. As it might not be your traditional horror story or horror movie, it's a pretty terrifying idea. Have you seen Gravity?
No,
Exactly.
Sandra Bullock and
never heard of it.
George Clooney.
Nope.
She just gets kind of left up in space by herself, and she's got to figure out a way down.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a lot of really terrifying non-horror movies out there, especially when it comes to space, it seems.
Like Xenon, the girl of the 21st century.
Yes. Yeah.
It's gonna crash, or it's gonna explode. She has to save it. That's terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of these, even in the just disaster movies, like Armageddon. Even though it's silly and dramatic, it's kind of I love it too. But I mean, it's so over the top, but it's terrifying at its heart. I mean, that concept is very scary. But maybe not so bad, because whenever it would happen, it would be instantaneous, I think. Let's go to trains. All right.
You have one.
Brendan,
Go
you want to
for
start
it,
with
shoot.
trains? Or Sam? Yeah.
Oh, I think it'd be a dishonor not to bring up Train to Busan here for trains.
Absolutely.
It's literally stolen the spot on my favorite zombie movie of all time, beating out Romero, which is a huge feat. I think it's an emotionally grounded take on the zombie story. I think all the acting is incredible for everybody. And the zombies are terrifying. The way they move, the way they function is absolutely creepy and just disturbing. So, Train to Busan for me.
Absolutely agree for all the same reasons you said. I think it is probably one of the best, if not the best, zombie movie.
Do you like Train to Busan, Sam?
Yeah, it's really emotional. It's been a minute since I've seen it, but yeah, it was really good.
I cried.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely. Do you
So
never
weird.
cry, Brendan?
No, not often.
Not often.
It is like a tear. I cry every single day, but that's my thing. But Train to Busan definitely is a tear jerker, and it'll get me every single time, no matter what.
Yeah,
And then just it being on a train was like, again, in itself terrifying, because you're trapped for the most part. They were essentially trapped, and then having to figure out how to use being enclosed to their own benefit. But again, while they're doing that, they're also isolating themselves even more and putting themselves in a more difficult situation if, for some reason, like the zombies are able to get in. So I think that, again, all these movies, because of being closed in the transport that you're in, it's stressful. It was a very stressful movie, but alongside it, it was very emotionally driven. I love this movie.
Absolutely. And yeah, with the train, you're boxed in at both ends, basically. And with Train to Busan in particular, it's worse because trains have a lot of doors besides both ends, but you can't go out those doors either because there's the outside world is even worse than inside the train. So it's like their world just keeps getting smaller and smaller, and they have to figure out how to survive. So it's super tense and really fun, and the emotional element is what makes it's going to be one of those enduring movies, that we'll talk about long after all of us are gone, I hope. So let's see, Sam, any train movies for you?
Yeah, I'm going to bring up one that I'm not sure anyone else will. I'll be surprised if they do. And I have not seen it, full disclosure. I have not seen it yet. It's on my watch list. I think it's on the Video Nasties list. It was recommended by our friend Aaron. It's called Night Train Murders from 1975. And it's supposed to be very much like Last House on the Left. So full disclosure, it's going to be pretty graphic and brutal. But it takes place on a train. So it's in the category.
Have you seen that, Mike?
I've heard of it. I have not seen it, but I will definitely, based off of what you just said, I'm not going to run to go see it now, but I still do want to see it because while you guys are doing the Video Nasty stuff, I want to watch all the movies alongside the ones that you're doing.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, cool.
I'm excited to go through the list. So this is the one I want to watch next, I think, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, that was already the plan. So.
Yeah.
Is this Night Train 2 Murder or Late Night Trains?
Night Train Murders, 1975.
Okay. Oh, it's Italian, so there's a lot of different translation for it. I see.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it has a different title.
It could be Midnight Train Murders or something like that. I don't know.
On Letterboxd, it's Late Night Trains.
We have it here somewhere in the back. I bought it specifically to watch.
I've added that to my watch list for sure. My friends on Letterboxd seem to like it a lot. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, nice. Thank you, Sam. Mike, what do you have for trains?
All right, then I'm gonna bring this one up because it's an easy one to bring up, and it is Terror Train. Another Jamie Lee Curtis movie. She's also covering all transportation horror, apparently. But no, I enjoy this movie. I used to love it way more because I used to tell everyone like it was one of my favorite slashers. I recently rewatched it like a year or two ago. Wasn't my favorite anymore, but it is still a fun movie. It covers a lot of bases. It's a slasher, it's train horror, it's New Year's Eve horror, so it's a fun holiday watch. You can't go wrong with a slasher that has Jamie Lee Curtis in it.
Amen. Yeah, I like that movie. I think it's pretty solid. And it's got a famous magician. Was it David Copperfield? I can't remember who's in that.
That might be it. I don't remember.
Okay. Have you all seen Terror Train?
No, they remade it. So I was going to watch it for that reason, but then didn't get around to either of them.
Okay.
I heard the Tubi one because I think Tubi remade it. And I heard it's actually not that bad, but then they came out with a Terror Train 2 on Tubi, and I heard that was really bad.
Okay.
Let me see. I'm curious about I'll look it up later. Okay. Trains. Has anybody seen Train from 2009 or something? 2008?
No.
It's Sam. I think this one is kind of up your alley. It's a captivity on a train, sex trafficking. I think on a train, that type of thing.
Down.
It's very gritty, very got hostile vibes. I would say in terms of the violence. It stars Thora Birch from Hocus Pocus. I think is that what she's in. Anyway. I recommend it. I like it. Has anyone else?
What year? What year is it? 2000.
Let me check. I think I just randomly watched it on Tubi one day and was surprised at how hard it goes. 2008. Yeah.
2008. Okay. I'm going to look that up.
All of my Letterboxd friends give it really low ratings, but fuck them. Okay, any other trains?
This is one I haven't seen, but I know of its existence. I know what the cover looks like. It's Snakes on a Train.
Yay! Thank you. I was hoping someone would mention it.
I just know it exists. I can't say I've seen it, but
Yeah, same.
Why do you know the cover?
I think it's a pretty. Isn't it just like the head of a snake on like the thing, and then like it's like a train going underneath of it? I think it's a bright yellow snake too. I think it came out like within 6 months after Snakes on a Plane.
I wonder if it's the Asylum or something like that.
It probably is.
Yeah, it could very well could be.
Let me see. Snakes on a Train.
Mhm.
Oh, that's a brilliant screenshot. Holy shit. Just Google Snakes on a Train images, and the first one that comes up is amazing. Okay.
I think Sam's doing it right
I'm
now.
doing it. You've tempted me with a good time.
That had $1 million. It is the Asylum.
Oh, yeah.
Had a feeling.
You say that snake swallowing the train?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Deep road in that train.
Yeah.
Oh, nice one, Brendan. Has anyone seen Howl, Werewolves on a Train?
Love it. Love Howl. Very underrated werewolf movie.
That's the one Isaiah recommended, and I didn't get to it.
Bo and Caleb really like it too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So
Okay,
what is Howl? What is Howl about, Mike?
Let's see if I remember all of it, but I know it's a British horror movie. They're on a tram. It's a group of people, some together and then just unrelated people as well. And they're on a tram, forget where they're going, but then essentially either werewolves are attacking the tram or someone is turning into a werewolf. It's been a while since I've seen this movie.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact details of what that happens, but
I do remember like really enjoying, and I was very surprised by this movie when I saw it. Honestly, I'm gonna have to do a rewatch because I do remember really liking it.